Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our last episode of Bengal Gym and Sunday Night with Bengal Gym and Friends in 2020. This year's gone fast, guys. Unbelievable.
I thought we were going to say sad news. This is going to be our last episode, and then you throw in 2020.
Got some story up there, I think.
Yep.
Oh, hey, we got new graphics,
New
Jamie. What's going on,
guys?
here?
I can't take credit for it, but it does look nice.
It does. It does. So, guys, let's hit on it. It feels wonderful. We got a dub in Houston. We were there for it, but it does feel good coming on the show. James, damn it! All right, where's my boy Kevin? Kevin already said something. Houday boys, don't complain about winning, James. That's what he told us. Hey, it feels good to get a dub, man. It just feels great. No comment from James. No comment.
No, you know what? I was cheering for Gio. I had him in a fantasy team. I needed our boy T. Higgins to get a touchdown and some points. He did that. So yeah, great. Except we didn't need to win.
Hey, so hold on. We dropped from the third pick to the fifth pick. Come on, man. There's more than one good player in the draft, James.
I know. That's true.
Jamie?
Hey, you know what? I say this every week. I can't cheer for the guys to lose. It was nice to see a win, and I do agree with a lot of people are saying. Draft position is one thing, but culture is another. So if we are trying to establish winning culture, I'm good with a win.
Yep. So let's pull. Go ahead,
my
Jamie.
positive from Houston, it was sunny. It was nice. Food was good. Yeah, and we won the football game. Did I say that? I said that out loud. So there.
You did. I'm proud of it. So just to let you know, we were amazed of all the Bengal fans that were down there. They let 13,000 fans in the stadium. And guys, it had to be 50-50 easy. I mean, where we were sitting, it was almost 100% Bengal fans. And if you want, Jamie, if you start pulling up some of those pictures, I just randomly, James and I took a bunch of pictures of just Bengal fans all over the place. And we got some good pictures of folks. We ran into a lot of the players' families. It was really cool to see all the Bengal fans down. It was really neat to see all the fans that don't get a chance to watch our Bengals live because, they live fairly close. We got to see the old Astrodome.
Which is still there right next to the Energy Stadium, the eighth wonder of the world, which it's funny. We called, it was known as the eighth wonder of the world at the time when they built that thing, but it looks like a mini-me compared to the new Energy Stadium, which is just crazy how times have changed.
Hey, stop right there in that picture. So I was talking to these two guys were sitting behind James and I. And the guy on the left they're both from Cincinnati. The guy from the left went to LaSalle High School, which is literally right down the street where I live almost. The guy on the right was from Price Hill, but they live in the Houston area. They had been waiting all year when that schedule came out earlier this year. They could not wait for this game on the schedule. So it's really cool for these guys to get to watch their hometown team in Houston. It was a fun experience for them. I just took a bunch of pictures, guys. I didn't even send them all to. You can see in that shot right there. It's cool. Just randomly, I didn't even ask permission. Sometimes I just took pictures. So I hope they're okay with me using their images on.
Now I saw another video you posted on social media. We don't have it to play, but you saw a guy wearing a Roethlisberger jersey, and you walked up to him like you were TMZ with your camera.
Let's just say, Jamie, the Miller Lights were going down easy for Bengal Gym on Sunday.
Maybe. But he ignored me the first time he walked by me, so I had to hunt him down. That's why I had to go chase him down. So it was good. William Jackson, I'm sure there were some family members. I don't know who's who there, but they were excited he's from he went to the University of Houston, so it was kind of cool for them to be able to see William Jackson play down in Houston.
And Jimmy's bad luck, poor William Jackson got hurt right after he took that photo.
No, I didn't. The killer bees.
Boyd, Bates, Burrow, Bernard.
And God bless Chili there in the Burrow jersey. He drove 16 hours, I think.
He did.
Made a pit stop in Oxford and then drove the rest of the way from Cincinnati. So dedication.
Yeah, so fun. It was a fun weekend. It was a totally last spur of the moment for me, last minute thing, late Friday. But it was fun hanging with James and Lori and Cannon and all of our friends that came down to meet us down there. There was a lot of people that actually flew down that morning at 6 a.m. and flew back that night. That's a long day. So it was worth the trip. It was a fun time. So.
Thank you, Southwest Airlines. Maybe we can get some sponsorship for next year's show. Fly Southwest, the friendly skies.
Yep. I love Southwest.
Yeah.
So hey, let's go ahead and get going here, guys. We did another we did another charity. We're going to do another charity duck race here, guys. And again, Tony the Tiger and Carrie again, kind of responsible for getting these jerseys for us, guys. So the charity that we wanted to focus on this week, and guys, this has been such a fun thing to do. It just makes you feel good and helping out local charities. So we're focusing our charity this week on Marty's House, which offers support and activities for young adults battling addiction and mental health issues here in our area. And actually, I think their office is on the west side of Cincinnati, but it's a great local charity. Guys, we just raised, I wanted to cut it off at 25, and there's a bunch of people that donated kind of late in the game. And guys, you guys raised $700 in like a day and a half for this particular charity. So I do have an email into them. I know they greatly appreciate all the help. As we talk about every week, the charities during COVID are really struggling for support and help. And you guys are doing what you can to help these charities in our area here. So we've now pushed over $10,000 in charity donations this year. And guys, it makes me proud to be a Bengals fan, because this is all Bengal fans doing this, and it's just a really cool thing. And again, we want to thank Tony and his wife Carrie for these jerseys, kind of spurring us along.
And a great jersey this week, T. Higgins. It's the first time we've had one of these, and if everybody's been online, T has a chance to beat Collinsworth's rookie record, which hopefully he'll do this Sunday at PBS. So great opportunity to get the what is it? Is it receptions or yards? I should probably know that.
But, I think it's receptions. Receptions.
Okay. Yeah, I think he needs one more to break it. So pretty cool. It's been a heck of a rookie year for T. Higgins, and somebody's going to get a nice late Christmas present tonight.
Yep. So here's the thing. So usually I have that jersey over my left shoulder. Tony and Carrie have that jersey on order. So guys, I wanted to cut this off at 25. I know exclusivity and a small number is really what people look for. So we actually went over to 25 because a bunch of people kind of came in right about the same time. So I cut it off at 28. So there will be 28 names on this. There were 5 of them that I know are friends from the Bengal Brawl at actually gave away.
I just have to leave the Bengals Brawl part because it needs to be on.
Too long.
It has to be on mine. So.
Yep. Okay. No problem. So we have 28, and James, you're our duck caller here, brother. Let's get this rolling. This is for the T. Higgins autographed jersey. We have 28 names for a great charity, $700. Great job. Good luck, everybody. Let's roll.
Here we go.
Looking at last week, I believe it was John Eifert that won that cool Kenny Anderson jersey. John's back in the game this week. Let's see.
Yeah. Hey, you know what, Jamie? I'm sorry. Hey, guys, in the chat area, if you could, 1 through 28, pick a duck, man. Let's everybody pick a duck now. Let's go.
So I'm actually to cheer for the Batman duck. I see him in the middle of the pack there. I can't quite tell what number he is, but I'm going to go for the Batman duck. I'm going
to go with lucky number 11, because that is my number since I've been a little kid. So that's my number. Baseball, football, and basketball. I'm going 11. Whoever that is, I have no idea, but I'm going 11.
It looks like number 4 a dinosaur duck. That'd be Cannon's favorite.
Here we go. Get set. What number is Batman?
Oh, last week's winner, John Eifert, out to the early start.
Mariana is the Batman duck. That's my
She keeps it. She's not sharing it with Luke, she said.
14, 4, 11.
11, come on now.
For Burrow, 25 for Bernard.
23, showing away.
You can't see 11 because it's always good to be in the back of the pack.
In the back. There's the Prince duck, had the lead there for the second, the all purple one.
So this
May 22
actually does win. I have no control over who wins. Just I realize I'm the one setting it up, but I'm cheering for a winner. And if it wins, people might.
Is number 4 a frog, a dinosaur? What is number 4?
This is where 20 wants to be. You want to be at the back? Let's go. Come on.
Right, come on, 11. Come on, 11.
Shot out of a cannon, 27.
27.
Encyclopedia John.
Okay, that is a Twitter handle there. I have no idea, John. Hey, congratulations, man. You came out of nowhere, brother. You've been working hard for this race, and you pulled it out at the end, man. Wasn't even close.
I think that looks like a Spider-Man outfit.
It is. It is a Spider-Man duck. Nice. So, John, if you could, If you could direct message us on our social media platform, whatever you're most comfortable with, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. You won the T. Higgins jersey, and we got a great shot of T. Higgins touchdown in the end zone at it. It was right at us. So great jersey again. Thanks, Anthony and Carrie. That was fun. That's a $700, man. It's just unbelievable. Bengal fans out there, very generous. That's Superman duck for the win.
We're going to
Spider-Man
start being known for these duck races now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just need to get a graphic designer to come up with a Bengal gym duck as like the paste duck, and then he just fades to the back.
It's the rabbit.
And then he sinks in the ducks race.
Oh man! Hey, real quick. So James, I don't know if you saw this. What's going on the bottom left-hand side or right-hand side of Jamie's?
Representing, boys. Representing.
I thought you should have a thing of syrup or something up there, with a.
That is the size of a toonie, actually. If you actually, I got a toonie right here. There you go. See, this is money.
There you go.
Dollar bill.
So
I like those in the Bengal gym tip jars.
Yes, we get them every week. That's funny. Well, hey guys, the charity duck race. Thanks again, everybody. Just a lot of fun and just a really cool thing that everybody's doing and these charities every week. It's an amazing amount of money that you guys have raised this year for charities. Over 10 grand. Are you kidding me? Going into this year with the COVID, we completely just did away with our goals because we didn't know what the heck we were going to be dealing with here. But man, oh man, you guys done an outstanding job. Thanks again, everybody. It means a lot.
Yep.
Hey, real quick, we got a guest next. I know last week was our first episode ever that we got stood up by a guest. And Carl Pickens, we're trying to get a hold of him still to get him back on. I will not. I'll be relentless for everybody on this watching the show. I will get him on at some point. Believe me. I don't give up on that one.
We'll just show up at his doorstep in Atlanta with Facebook Live.
Don't tell anybody that, James. We're going to do it, brother. You're going to be filming.
Yeah.
But next week, let's talk about our guest next week. So we got another very special guest lined up, man. Ken Riley II. Ken Riley's son is going to be joining us. I talked to him for a good 15, 20 minutes the other day. So he has a lot of great stories about Dad. We'll have some video clips of Dad. He's going to talk about how Dad feels not being in the Hall of Fame. Ken Riley was a very private individual, very quiet, didn't like talking to the media. But he's going to be able to share, his dad's thoughts around a lot of different things. So next week, Ken Riley II. And AJ, he probably is.
Bourbon cream. I had to finish up the bottle. Bourbon cream, AJ. Close. You know what, though? Speaking of eggnog, I went to the store, got cinnamon eggnog by mistake. Don't buy cinnamon eggnog next Christmas. It's nasty. Just regular. And what it is in a merry. I didn't have it last week. I'm a little more festive tonight. So there you go.
Funny. There you go. All right, let's hop into it. We're gonna go over, guys, our last episode of 2020. We're going to review. We struggled with this. We could have did a top 20, but we did the top 5 moments on Sunday Night Football with Bengal Jim and Friends for the year. And we're going to start off from 5 to 1. And there's been some funny things, man. There's a lot of special moments. Some things got left off of this, but we picked, Jamie, and I picked our top 5. We all agree that these are our top 5. We'll start off with our number 5 and go from there. So,
all right, number 5, as everybody knows, we do these shows live and you never know what to expect. Well, this one has our buddy Craig. God bless him. Just a great individual, huge asset to everything we do. You probably know him as Beer Fest Craig. So at the beginning, Craig was going to give cigars. He donated some Joe Burrow cigars early in the game, the same ones that Joe smoked in the national championship game. And this was, I think, coming off of a win. And normally, as Craig said, you'll see in this thing, normally we have him on at the end of the show. Well, we were, I think, waiting on a guest, and we totally had to improvise again, being live, and we stuck him on. And just, I could watch this video time and time again and just laugh my tail off. And I think it gets funnier every time. So let's just watch. We put Craig on the spot and see what he has to say.
Answers here. Or
Martin, we're on.
Greg's already had a few bourbons, obviously.
Hold on. I'm trying to Well, usually I was late in the show, guys. What the hell? There we go.
For everybody who doesn't know, we've had Craig multiple times throughout the year. So we do bourbon.
Jamie, we lost our sound.
All right, here we go. Bourbon of the week in honor of Joe Burrow. Sazerac Rye. The key ingredient for the Sazerac, the official drink of New Orleans, where our boy made his name.
Right.
Joey B. All right, so that's the official drink of the week.
So what kind of cigar you have right there, Craig?
So I'm smoking my favorite Fuente Masterpiece, which is just unbelievable cigar. And if they put 3 in a row, I'll make them Fuente Masterpieces. But we're not going to do that because they're hard to find.
That's Super Bowl.
All right.
This week's are an Alec Bradley. Well, let's start low. We'll start with an authentic Cuban. Well, we'll spell that with a Q because they're not illegal that way. It's spelled with a Q. It's a Cuban. Romeo and Juliet, authentic Cuban. There we go. That's going to be in there. And what was the other one?
Just don't ship those across the border, anybody. Okay, we have to. The way to.
I can't read that one. But this is the big. Whoop! I dropped it. All right, there we go. This is an Alec Bradley Max, and you can probably see why it is named according. It's the largest cigar, pretty much.
Did we get that at the Hustler store?
I'm pretty sure they should say Bill Clinton on the top. You know.
Oh, Craig, never a dull moment.
Good stuff. So Craig obviously had to make the top 5 there.
So thank you, Craig, for all you do. And that is definitely a highlight of 2020, which has been a tough, somewhat somber year. That definitely lightens up the case. So thank you, Craig. Cheers.
Let's go with number 4.
All right. Well, number 4, guys, we don't have a clip for this one, but as you know, the show is by the fans, for the fans, and as you can tell by my little Canadian thing in the bottom corner over here, we are an international fan base. We've been really fortunate through the draft party and throughout the year. We've had plenty of guests on from all over the world. To name off a couple of the countries here: UK, Canada, Scotland, France, Argentina, Denmark, Spain, and Germany. And I think for me, the highlight this year, for me, was when we had and Jim, you could tell me his name. I don't remember his name, but we had the gentleman on from Scotland, I believe, during the draft party, and he was completely shit-faced. I think he was drinking for about 4 hours in the waiting room waiting to come on.
Hold on. So actually, he's watching right now. His name is Scott Gibb. Scott Gibb saying "Who Day" right there. So remember, it was like 2:00 in the morning. He'd already drank a whole bottle of whiskey.
Oh man, that was my favorite. I absolutely love that.
Scott, do you remember being on that show, or did you have to go watch it the next morning to believe that, Scott? Let's hear what you have to say about that.
Scott, oh, poor Scott. What a great dude. Let's go.
Yeah, so we got our friends from Mexico been on plenty of times. Got our friends from overseas. Guys, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to go over to the UK for the games. I know you guys went a couple times. So we've had a lot of those guys on as well. So that was definitely fun.
The international flavor was definitely prevalent in 2020.
Too early.
Let's go to 3 here. So we have a video clip here. So just let me prep this video clip. So the draft night was our first night doing anything like that. So we were learning still, but we had a star-studded list of people lined up from like 7:00 to like 10:30 that night. It was crazy on draft night. So we wanted to get a local comedian. His name's Gary Owen. The guy is absolutely hilarious. He was stuck COVID quarantine out on the West Coast. I think he was in California. He was so excited. So this was our first guest on after the Joe Burrow pick. Just if you have kids in the room, just go ahead.
Yeah, there you go.
Yo.
Yes. Gary,
I'm in.
Just go. Give us your initial reaction. Go. Just go.
Fuck yeah. Sorry about that.
Hey.
Kids are watching. I'm excited. I'm out here in California. I'm like a lone soldier. I got nobody out here. I got nobody to celebrate with. I got me and my dog. This is it, man. Yes.
What do you think? What do you think, Gary? Come on.
I mean, come on. An Ohio kid from Athens.
Yes.
And people don't realize he didn't go to like a Moeller or St. X. He went to
Coleraine.
He went to like a Talawanda, like a Claremont Northeastern type high school. You know what I mean? That's what we're dealing with right now. We're dealing with, because remember a couple years ago, the kid Luke Kennard was at Franklin.
Yep.
That's the equivalent of Joe Burrow for us.
Yeah, he went to Duke. Yep.
And then small school, goes to Ohio State. I don't know what they was thinking. And then he goes to LSU. And look at it. I mean, we're gonna have like Skyline with gumbo this year. Just mix it all together.
We didn't want to interview. We just wanted your raw reaction right after the pick, man. So this is we got it.
I can't wait. It's gonna be Graders on Bourbon Street. Watch how Graders just pops up on Bourbon Street next year. Geek. Well, hey, and let's make sure we don't bash Andy Dalton for all this, because he did do a lot for this franchise and still doing a lot for the community. So it was never any off-field problems with him. He ingrained himself in Cincinnati. So I don't want to make sure we don't bash Andy with this, but we are excited to get Burrow. Let's not get it twisted.
Absolutely great.
Gumbo at Skyline. That it hasn't happened yet, but maybe next year we'll have the gumbo at Skyline. And I don't know if there's a Graders on Bourbon Street. Bourbon Street was shut down for a while, but Gary was fired up and a lot of fun.
That was hilarious. That was back in our Zoom days. Feels so.
We've evolved so much since then.
Hey, Jamie, if you could take the next two. Louis Breeden just called me. I'm going to help him get on here real quick. So finish out with the last two.
I got it. Yep.
Okay, just take me off screen.
Yep. All right, brother, go for it. Number 2.
Kenny was, has a huge part of what we do. Go ahead and got a clip to play.
Yeah, so I think this was him doing a toast, I think, before the
Kenny's been on several times, and we've been gracious enough to give to his wonderful charity. Some great Pumpkinhead helmets and jerseys and all that. This is actually before the first game. We were set up in the tailgate, not allowed in to Paul Brown Stadium, so we set up the Jumbotron and right next to the practice field, and Mr. Anderson gave us a toast to kick off the 2020 season.
And he was heading to his favorite restaurant in Florida for some lobster to go watch the game. Here we go.
Favorite watering hole in South Carolina. Yes.
South Carolina. Thank you.
Yes.
About the geography. Here we go.
Today, and what better way to get ready for a Bengals game than spending a couple hours at the beach, having a couple of adult beverages. And then we're headed down to Rockfish and Seafood at Bombora's, our Bengals bar down here for kickoff at 4:00.
All right, so Kenny, I know you don't have a beer in your hand, probably sitting in the car, but we want you, if you could, to officially toast and open up the tailgate, the first tailgate in Cincinnati in 2020 for us, if you could. We're all saluting. We all got you. We're all back here.
Well, if I wasn't sitting behind a car that was running, I would have a beer with you. But all I can say is it's a new day. It's a new era with Joe Burrow and Cincinnati. Hoo day, baby.
Hoo day, baby. Hoo day.
And that whole day was just pretty sweet with, socially distance and watching the game with fans together, not being able to be in the stadium, but doing the next best thing and hanging out together. And a game we probably should have won, but what a great way to start off the 2020 season. And again, thank you to Kenny and his foundation and everything they do for the community, and being a great guest of the show.
Yep.
So
that was fun, man. I mean, Kenny's been a lot of fun to talk to, and he's been more than willing to give time for us as well. It's been a lot of fun. So Louis Breeden is dialing in now, so we'll get him on here in a minute. I'm going to wait if he needs some more help. So he is on the way. So the last one, number one on our list, guys. Guys, we have had a lot of epic episodes. We had an episode with the two best offensive linemen in Bengal history, period. Willie Anderson and Anthony Munoz. We put as our most memorable moment here on Bengal Gem and Friends, Sunday Night Football with Bengal Gem and Friends. So here's a little clip of Anthony Munoz, our number one most memorable moment.
¿Cómo se llama? Miguel Fernando Jesús Gómez. No soy mojado porque tengo mi carta verde. Mi mamá y mi papá viven en los Estados Unidos. Más que vivan right, no tenemos right para los Estados Unidos. ¿Cómo se llama? Miguel Fernando Jesús Gómez.
So, Anthony, please tell me that was you.
That would be me. I think it was my junior in college. I believe, if I remember correctly, my offensive line coach had a fraternity brother that was a producer, and they needed some extras. And so I went to Valencia, California, which is north of LA. That's where Magic Mountain.
So Anthony had a blast on the show that night with his guys. He literally, the next day, the foundation actually called and said they watched the episode again the next day. They just had a great time. Anthony loved it. And you could see when Anthony came back on the screen after him watching it and me with the afro on, he kind of caught himself laughing at me a little bit. But what a just a great human being, let alone a great football player. The guy's just a good person, guys.
A lot of great stories, a lot of behind the scenes stuff that we didn't hear, haven't heard before, but I think that's been, one of the things I've been most surprised with, is what we're on episode 37 is just the behind the scenes stories that a lot of us have never heard before. And our guests have been so gracious to share those with us. And Anthony was no different, talking about the connections to USC to Hollywood and the big screen and everything else. And it's just very special to have him on.
It's funny, guys, when we originally did the draft show, we talked about doing this as a weekly show. And I remember going back, just going, it'd be cool if we had a couple, old players on the chat. And we're now what week are we in now?
This is the 35th or 36th episode, guys.
Yeah, and we've had pretty much a Bengals player or someone associated with the team on almost every week. I mean, some weeks we've had on, if it wasn't a player, it was somebody connected to the team through, being a beat reporter or somebody who's got some insight into the team. We've had Lap on a couple times. We've had Kenny on a few times. It's just been it's been pretty surreal. And again, one of the things talked about a lot is especially like I'm a little younger than you guys, not too much younger, but a lot of these guys I didn't grow up watching. So it's nice to hear some of the stories and learn some of the history and behind the scenes from a lot of these guys.
The one thing that shocked me, Jamie, your girlfriend, Marissa Contepelli, didn't make the top 5.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised, but you know what, James, she's top 5 in my heart.
Jamie lobbied for that for forever. We were just going to give him like one AA for Marissa, and then
surprisingly, I haven't got a letter from the team asking me to stop. So.
Yeah, the stay away order yet. So that's good. Well, maybe maybe that's why you haven't come down all year. You're just using the COVID as an excuse. Maybe you actually did get a letter.
All right, so Jimmy's offering some tech support here for our guests. So the good news is we're not being set up this week, so it's not going to be 2 weeks in a row. While we're waiting for that, James, you want to hop into our question of the week?
Let's rock and roll with it.
All right, let's go for it. Okay, so this is kind of a weird, bittersweet maybe question, kind of odd because it feels weird to be answering this one. However, who are you cheering for this Sunday, Steelers or the Browns? But before we get into that, hold your thought on that because
we got him. We got him. We got him.
We're going to bring the question of the week back. So think about that, guys. And Jimmy, I'll let you handle the introduction. We'll bring him on.
Yep, just talking to Louis. So we got him taken care of. So he's in the waiting room right now. So, guys, the top 5 moments in the show this year were outstanding. We appreciate everybody being part of this, guys. We have had, man, I forgot to count. Of the Bengals top 50 in the franchise. If you remember the 50th anniversary a few years ago, we've had I think we've had 22 of the top 50 top Bengals on, including this number 28 of 50, one of the all-time Bengal greats here today with us, Louis Breeden, guys. 1977, 7th round pick out of North Carolina Central, cornerback, played with the Bengals from 77 to 87, second all-time in Bengals history in interceptions with 33. And guys, let's welcome to the show, guys, a very special guest here, Louis Breeden.
Hey guys,
Louis, what's going on, big dog? How you doing, buddy?
Not much. I'm glad you said it because that was number 28 of 50, and here I am outside of your house in the cold, man. In the waiting room outside. You didn't tell your audience that the waiting room is outside.
So we got to keep socially distanced. Louis is right outside the patio right here.
Okay.
So
it's at the back of the fence. I'm about 80 yards away.
Louis, hey man, thanks for being here with us. To kind of give you a kind of how the show works. We're streaming live right now to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We have hundreds of folks watching right now. And one of the things we want to do is keep Bengals history alive, Louis. We bring back a lot of the OGs, man, from the 70s and 80s. We've had a ton of your teammates from the 70s and 80s on. And it's important for us. We had it's important for us to keep the history alive of this organization, man. I know the organization's talking about doing things. They've done some different things. They're going to continue to improve on that and make sure that they remember their players that made this organization who they are today. And you're a critical part of that Bengals history, Louis. And we appreciate you being with us.
No problem, man. No problem.
All right. So we got some things. We got some video. We got a video here I want to see. And I guess every interview we've ever done, Louis, this has to come up, I'm assuming here. But you had a Bengals record, man, that was broke this year. But let's play this video clip. And after this video clip, let's talk about it.
All right. Oh, yeah. San Diego, what was that? 81?
81.
Yeah, Danny Fouls, Charlie Joyner trying to tackle me. He can't. He's too small. So, and about 120 yards later, I'm into the end zone. Actually, 102, but I tell people it's about 108. So, but that one was broke. Who was that? Who was that? The running back. Was it?
It was San Diego's worst loss at home.
Is it Brandon Wilson?
Yeah, Brandon Wilson. Yeah,
Brandon Wilson.
Heck of a returner, man.
Yeah.
I wish if he was before the rule change, this guy would probably have 6 or 7 touchdowns by now because he's dynamic returner.
Yeah. What's crazy, Louis, on that return? Now it was funny you mentioned that Charlie Joyner, the ex-Bengal, had you by the jersey. He was going to take you down, and I think it was Whitley who sprung
Wilson
you, right?
Whitley. Yeah, Wilson Whitley did it. And he rest in peace, Wilson Whitley. He would remind me all the time that he knocked Charlie Joyner off of me, and because he told me this, right after the play, he said, "Louis, I'm the one that caused you to get this touchdown." So he reminded me all the time, and it was he was a great player for the Bengals. Rest in peace, guy. So that was a big ball game for us, and that we went out there and beat them in their kind of weather.
Yep. Any question for you, Mr. Breeden? Any hesitation there when you got that to just take the knee and get the ball to 20, or were you just thinking, I'm going to take that thing to the house?
No. When you've been playing in the league since 1977 and you don't have a touchdown yet, so there was no hesitation about getting in and having a chance to get my first touchdown. No. If it had been 100, if it had been 8 yards back, I probably would have stupidly ran it out and tried to tackle it. But I was going to come out regardless.
Well, wait, so Louis, every week on the show, we go back and pull out some Bengals memorabilia. So we got something special this week. So this is a ticket stub from that 1981 game in San Diego. I was not there. My dad was 11 years old. My dad probably would have let me go out there, but this is a ticket stub from that game, Louis. So that's a special.
Is that Chris Collinsworth on there? Is that who that
no?
is?
It's a generic. No.
Oh. Okay.
You know what? It's definitely not Chris. It's a black guy. Thank goodness. It's
Oh,
not
was it?
Chris.
Yeah,
I'm
maybe
just
he was
saying.
black at one time. I don't know. So
Nah, it's a generic Bengal on there, man. But that's the 1981 ticket stub out in San Diego, man. So it was kind of cool. So let's kind of piggyback on that. So Dan Fouts. Now people, and I heard you talk about this before, Louis. Man, you guys thumped them. It was like 40-17. I think you had 3 turnovers, right? You got 3 turnovers that day.
yeah, I had 2 interceptions and I had a fumble recovery in that ball game. Yeah,
that's a pretty good day. So later in the year, they come out and they complain about getting beat up in the Freezer Bowl, which you also had a pretty critical interception during that game against Dan Fouts as well. So what do you say to people? All the San Diego players. We had James Brooks on here about a month ago, and he was complaining about having to come to Cincinnati. And I had to remind James when he played in San Diego that we beat him up in San Diego. What do you say about people like they tried to change the location of that Freezer Bowl that day because they didn't think it was fair? They had to come out and play Cincinnati in the Freezer Bowl in the AFC Championship.
Yeah, James Brooks and all the other Chargers have a bit of amnesia, selective anyway, because we did go out there, and this was a team in the NFL. Offensively, they were as good as anyone during the time, and they threw the football just all over the place. And they had Kellen Winslow, and they had Wes Chandler. They were a great football team, outstanding offensive line. Defensively, they weren't as good, so that's why I think that's what kept them from winning the Super Bowl was on the defensive end. But we went out there in their kind of weather, and we knew if we could beat them out there because traditionally the Bengals just don't play well out on the West Coast. But we went out there on the West Coast, and we beat them. I had a couple of interceptions, fumble recovery, and that sort of catapulted us for the rest of the year towards the playoffs because defensively, we had a great defense that year. We were our defensive line, Eddie Edwards, Ross Brown, and Wilson Whitley, and those guys. They really put pressure on the quarterback and made our job easier on the back end.
Yeah, that's really cool. So I've got 2 quick questions for you, 2 comments. I know, James, we got a bunch of questions right now going on the chat area. We'll pop up with you, Louis. But So you do have a dubious NFL record, man. And you need to tell me, you need to fact check this for me.
Oh, I know what it is. I know what you're going to say.
What?
Is it a punt return?
Maybe.
Is it -6, maybe?
12, -12, Louis.
Is it -12?
That's what it said on Wikipedia.
I think they add stuff on as the years go by. I thought it was -6. That one was, let me tell you about that one. That one was in, wait. San Francisco. I think it was 1978, was it?
I'm not sure.
It was 1978. I was the backup punt returner. And I ran them in preseason. Did very well, but since I was a starting corner, they didn't want their starting cornerbacks to run back punts because they don't want you to risk getting hurt. So the day of the ball game, and probably all week I hadn't kept punts. And that's when they were playing in Candlestick. And if you ever caught punts in Candlestick with the wind coming off the water, it could blow all over the place. So I hadn't caught punts, and just as we were getting ready to start the ball game, I forget the guy's name, but the starting punt returner, he couldn't return punts. He was hurt or something like that. Say, Louis, you're up. You got to return punts. The first 2, they went high punts, and the ball was like a knuckleball. I let both of them hit the ground because of the way that it was moving. I said, I didn't want to take a chance. Both of them. So the coaches, special team coach, head coach, everybody's yelling at me, catch the damn ball. So the next one I tried to catch, and I muffed. And I think I lost yardage on that. I think that counts. And the next one I caught, and I think I lost some yards running that one. And then at the end of the game, I tried to end of the game, the last punt they made because we were behind. We had trying to make me run the punt back, and I caught it, and I fumbled it. So that was the last time they allowed me to go back and catch a punt in the Bengals history. So I ended up with -12.
It says 12. Let's call it 6, Louis. So it's an NFL record, -6 yards punt return.
Is it a record, really?
That's what it said. Now, again, Wikipedia is not right all the time. Somebody could have went in there and messed that up, Louis, but
Well, you play the game to set records, don't you?
It's a good way to look at it. It's a good way to look at it.
I love it. I love it. Well, Amy, thanks for having fun with that with us. I was scared to bring it up, Louis. Since you're outside on my balcony, my porch. I didn't want you to come in and beat me up.
I'm only 80 yards away outside the cover.
So I want to ask you a question, man. So we had Lamar Parrish on a few weeks ago. I don't think you might have been. You didn't play in '77, I think.
I didn't play in '77. I was on the team. I got hurt that year, so I didn't play. He was phenomenal.
Yep. So what's crazy? What's crazy? So we had Lamar on, and he talked about Ken Riley, and with Love, they were roommates for a long time. And Louis, talk a little bit about Ken, man. And next week we got Ken Riley's son, Ken Riley II, coming on, kind of talking some Ken Riley with us. But talk about Ken. You're number 2 in Bengals history, right behind Ken Riley with interceptions. I mean, talk about what he meant to this organization.
Phenomenal player. He was a great leader. First of all, he was very smart. He had his master's degree. When he came into the league, at Florida A&M, he was a quarterback, just an all-world quarterback. He threw it and he could run it very quick, very elusive. And this was during the era when he came out that you did not have black quarterbacks in the National Football League. So there was no way he was going to be a quarterback in the league. But he easily made the transition from quarterback to defensive back and has never played the position in his life. I think more than anything, that's what's so phenomenal, that he made that kind of transition. Most people can't make that. It's hard to make it from any position, but his athleticism, his skill set, his as smart as he was, he made that transition. And 65 interceptions later, in his retirement, I mean, that's phenomenal, man. And he should be in the Hall of Fame. When I came into the league, we had a defensive back coach. I'm not going to tell you his name, but he didn't know very much about the position. So when I had to learn, I played safety in college. I never played corner in my life, never guarded a wide receiver. I played safety. So I didn't have to guard anyone. So when I came into the league, I had to play corner. So when I came in, I had to learn from mostly Kenny Riley. He was my coach for the first, up until Dick LeBeau came. I learned from Kenny Riley. He taught me everything. He even taught me how to drink beer a little bit better anyway. So, and some vodka and some gin, but he was just phenomenal. And, hopefully posthumously, he will one day find his way into the Hall of Fame, because with 65 interceptions, what he did, unfortunately, he never made a Pro Bowl. Cincinnati doesn't get the kind of credit it should with guys who are played well. Great stats like Kenny Anderson, Isaac Curtis. You can stack those, Kenny Anderson's, you can stack those up against anyone. And so is Isaac Curtis. You can stack him up against stalwart. He's got better stats, but we didn't win 4 Super Bowls, and that's the way it goes in the National Football League. But Ken Riley was phenomenal.
Yeah, just we're hoping someday he gets in, man. But we appreciate your view on Kenny, man, and Ken Riley, because all his former teammates said exactly the same thing you just did too, which is really cool.
He was the original Rattler, man. He is a god back at Florida A&M.
Yep, for real.
Yeah.
All righty, Louis. Question from our resident historian, Tom Justin. How big were the adjustments / demands on you and your teammates going from the 4-3 to the 3-4 under new D coordinator Hank Bullock?
How difficult was it?
Yes.
For defensive back, not very much at all. For the, I think for the defensive line, because you have a 2-gap responsibility now, and the linebackers, it was it was major for them because they have different responsibilities now. Especially for a nose tackle who's got the gap on the right, gap on the left, and you got the linebackers who are plugging in. For defensive backs, if it's zone, if it's zone, if it's man, if it's man. So it was nothing for us. But when Hank came in, the biggest thing, we played a lot more man then, which I like, Kenny Riley liked, because we thought we matched up well. So it was basically learning the terminology. But in terms of the way you played and how you had to play, just man or zone, so it wasn't very much of a difference for us.
All right. If you don't mind, Louis, we're going to go to our viewer questions. Jamie's going to read those out for those that are watching, as Jimmy said earlier, via Facebook or YouTube, and answer some questions from the fans tuning in.
Great. All right. What did Coach Greg bring to the locker room and the team's discipline?
What did he bring? I could tell you some story about Forrest, but I can't use the colorful language that he would use. This is not that kind of a program. So Forrest was we needed the one thing that we were lacking. I think a lot of people lack that, and I think personalities in general, athletes need discipline. Some are more disciplined than others. I wasn't very disciplined. He brought that kind of discipline that we needed. He was a Hall of Fame player. He knew how to get guys motivated. We need some motivation. This was back in the day where you could threaten guys as a coach. You know, the guys aren't making millions and millions of bucks. So he could threaten you, man. And you were actually scared. Guys were scared of Forrest Gregg. And I tried to stay out of Forrest's way as much as possible. This is one thing coaching personalities they're unique and they're different from person to person, because when Forrest was there, I didn't appreciate Forrest. I really didn't like him because I was lazy and I didn't want to do the work. When Forrest left and Sam Weiss came, I wanted Forrest back because his personality, Forrest Gregg's personality, even though he was the toughest coach I ever to play for, it sort of matched what I needed more, and most of the guys on that team felt so, because it's a change of coach, it's a change in personalities, and you got used to Forrest, you got used to discipline, and then there's another coach who is totally opposite. And the guy that I wanted probably was happy that he was gone. I wanted him back, and I had, and when he passed away, I put something online about that, about my appreciation for Forrest Gregg. It was kind of a love-hate relationship, but I didn't have that love for Forrest until he was gone.
That's funny.
All right. Let me see what else here. Okay, let's go to. Sorry, guys. Okay. Thomas says, let's hear about the Louis Breeden rule change.
Oh, yeah. That one was, even though I've been knocked out a few times, I still can remember some things anyway. This was, I forget the year. It was against the Jets. Did you guys have the stats on this?
I don't have them in front of me.
Oh.
Okay. It was against the New York Jets. We were winning the ball game. It's in the fourth quarter. It's late in the fourth quarter, actually. Wesley Walker, wide receiver, speedy guy. They ran a go pattern. I'm covering Wesley Walker. I caught the ball. It was probably about a 35, 40-yard pass, something like that. I caught it on about the 4-yard line. Him tackling me and my momentum and his weight on me took me into the end zone. From about the 4 into the end zone where I actually fell. They called it a safety, which meant they got 2 points from making. I get the interception, turnover, into the end zone. I didn't run into the end zone. It's just the momentum of him tackling me and my momentum running. Tackling the end zone. They get the ball because we have to punt the safety. They get the ball back. They score and win the ball game. Paul Brown said, no. And I guess it never happened. You would think that would have happened before. But the competition committee got together that offseason and they changed the rule. It was actually called the Breeden rule now. So a great play turned into a not so great play and you end up losing the ball game. So they changed the rule.
Now, Louis, I remember that game. That was early mid 80s, right? That was early 80s.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what year it was.
Was that at home or away?
It was
at home.
Yeah.
Home.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah, I'm going to look that up when we're done here because I remember that game. That's a good question. I forgot all about that. That's a good one.
So I know we already touched on Brandon Wilson beating the record, but Joe's asking, how do you feel about that? So is that something that you feel happy? Is a little bit of sadness when a record like that gets broken?
Oh, as the old cliche, the old saying goes, rules are made to be broken. You knew it eventually it would. And guys now are probably they're more so. The guys were a little more reluctant back when I played to run balls deep out of the end zone. So guys were running back from anywhere now. I guess the record now is it can't be broken because someone took one out from 99 yards. So if I had the opportunity to do it, man, I'd probably run up in the stands and then try to get a touchdown to run for back 130 if they would count it. But no, I'm happy for him because I really like him. Running back kickoffs is an art. Some guys who do it really well are just great at it. I mean, they just go hard and they cut hard. And he is really good. I mean, I wish the rule was the way it was 15 years ago where, you were kicking off further back and he would have an opportunity to run more back. He would lead the league. There's just no way. He's just not getting the opportunities right now. And he would have more touchdowns because he is phenomenal at it. And I'm happy for him. Now, if he'd have broken the record, if I'd have had like Ken Riley, 65 interceptions and someone break it, I'd be pissed, but not with this one.
Talking about that particular running the punts back, there's been some talk in the NFL and college football and other football leagues about not allowing that anymore for safety. Obviously, the guys are bigger, stronger. Obviously, equipment's a little bit better. But what's your thoughts? You're talking about that now, Louis, about, it's a skill. If they do away with it, obviously maybe that player's not in the league anymore. Would you rather err on the side of safety, or do you think this kickoffs are part of the game and should continue on?
I think the safety is good. Football is tough anyway, and guys are going to get hurt. But I think the things that they can do to minimize the risk of a guy getting injured, with the old where you could just hit a wide receiver who's defenseless and you come up with him with an elbow or an arm or blindsiding guys, some of those things. I think it is good because there were, football once upon a time, it was no holds barred, man. You can do basically all you had to do was get the guy on the ground, and it didn't really matter how you got the guy on the ground. But it wasn't a safe sport. And years ago, I mean, Congress even went into looking at outlawing the game because so many people were being hurt and people were being killed. So the game has evolved, and the evolution has been good. I think in some instances, I think it may have been gone a little bit too far because I saw a play the other day. I forget who it was. A lineman trying to make not bat the ball down. You can see he was trying to bat the ball down. He just barely grazed the guy's helmet and face mask. I think they would, hopefully they would allow some objectivity in that one and allow the officials to look and say, you know what, that's not worth 15 yards. And it really isn't, because it can really change it can really change the game. And there's another thing that I like, not allowing guys to hold defensive linemen up and one guy hold them up, another guy come and hit him and clip him. So I think the rule changes have been, for the most part, have been good for the game. And I think it will evolve. And I'm pretty sure it will, because they're making changes all the time.
Thank you.
So obviously we're all excited about Joe Burrow here in Cincinnati. With Burrow coming back next season, what are your thoughts about how we're going to do, especially with new draft picks coming in?
Oh, well, we have to wait to see what they draft, huh?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. They have some problems right now. They do have talent because they've won a couple of ball games. Early on, they lost some ball games where they just couldn't close. So they're not that far away. Offensively, the offensive line, especially with pass protection, that's the biggest thing they need to
address.
To address. They've made some draft picks, wide receiver, center, just hasn't worked out. And when those guys are not in the starting lineup, especially on the offensive line, you're set back, and you're set way back, because those guys you're expecting to plug them in and to play. So that's an organizational thing. That has nothing to do with the players themselves. So they've got to do a better job of drafting, identifying guys, and I'm pretty sure they're going to look for an offensive lineman this year. So they got to get a guy who can come in and plug in and play right away, hopefully. And because Joe Burrow is, my goodness, my buddy Isaac Curtis, we talk about it all the time. This guy can play. I mean, I haven't seen a rookie. I've been watching football for a long time, but the guy who can come in and with the composure and the way he plays, especially with the offensive line, where they really haven't protected him that well, and he just goes up and down the field. It's amazing. It's unfortunate that he got hurt, but hopefully he'll come back. He'll be 100%. And if they can block for him, you got a guy here who can take them as far as they want to go.
Louis, if you don't mind, put your GM hat on. One of our key cornerbacks, William Jackson, who was a first-round draft pick, is up for free agency in 2021. If you were the GM, would you resign him? If yes, why? If no, why? Obviously, he's going to demand a pretty big contract.
Yeah, I like William Jackson. He's got a lot of speed. He hasn't picked off the balls the way I thought he would have. But I think the NFL, the way things are now, a lot of guys, they're not getting those high numbers in interceptions. I think a lot of it has to do with how they play. They look into they are playing the man as opposed to playing the ball, and you're almost like you're playing blind, because if you don't look at the ball, it may hit you in the head, hit you in the back, or you don't have a chance to react to it and catch it. So I think that's one of the things. But if I'm a GM, good DBs are hard to come by, and William Jackson is a very good player. I thought that when I saw him play his rookie season, and he played extremely well. The one thing that they can do to address a defensive back is to have a pass rush, and they don't have a consistent pass rush on the outside or up the middle. If they can address that and be a little more consistent that way, then it makes the back end. I mean, a pass rush is a defensive back's best friend. But William Jackson is a good player.
Yeah, good stuff.
So
So
I have a question. So we sort of touched on, obviously, depends on where the Bengals land in the draft position, what they're gonna draft. A lot of people in this fan base are split between wanting to win these games that are meaningless games. Can you maybe talk a little bit as a player? Players want to go out there and win every game, right? Like, I know we're not playing for a playoff spot, but the mindset's not there that anyone wants to lose a game and tank, right?
No, you don't want to, and you don't want to be on film not competing and not playing hard because you may not be there and teams are wondering what you were doing the next year. So plus you don't want to get hurt. If you relax, that increases the probability of getting hurt too. So you're going to play it out. It's like the New York Jets now. Trevor Lawrence is on the clock, and you win 2 ball games in a row. These guys are trying to play. They're competing. They're not thinking about the draft. I know management is, but the players could. Would they want to have a quarterback who has the kind of talent that he has and maybe can take them further than what they are? Yeah, but you can't ask them to stop playing. They're not going to. It's just not in their makeup. I don't think you would want guys on your team who you would approach that way. Hey, say guys, this is the draft. This is the guy we want. We have to have this draft slot, number 2 or number 1. What do you think? It's not going to sit very well. So that's why you see the Jets. The Jets still have talent. They beat Cleveland. Who else did they beat? I forget who else they beat.
Rams, which was a
beat
big
the
win.
Rams.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't think anyone with Aaron Donald on the team. I mean, gosh, I'd hate to be a quarterback facing this guy, but it's going to play out the way it's going to play out. They're going to play hard, and they're going to play hard this last ball game.
yeah. So Louis, we really appreciate your time, and I want to ask you just a couple quick questions here. We ask all of our viewers here, and you're in a unique situation because you got to play against the Steel Curtain in the late 70s. You came into the early 80s, and you guys dominated the Steelers. I know the history with Paul Brown and the city up north. We ask every guest we have on, and it's funny the answers we get, but there's 2 teams. And who do you hate the most? Who do you despise beyond any shadow of a doubt? It's got to be between one of 2 teams.
When I was playing,
you. How do you feel?
When I was playing? Or
yes.
What you talking about when I was playing? Okay.
When you were playing between the city up north, or the Pittsburgh Steelers, who do you despise the most when you played?
It was always Pittsburgh. A lot of it was probably jealousy because they were so dominant and they were winning Super Bowls. You got like, man, those rings look good. I wish I had one. Cleveland, we didn't like Cleveland. Paul Brown didn't like him, but I enjoyed Cleveland because, it was that dual stadium. They played baseball and played football. And they had those steel columns, beams within the stadium. And all of the history, with Jim Brown and Leroy Kelly and all those guys who were Marion Motley, all those guys who were playing, it was like, walking in those guys' footsteps because every time you went on the field, you go like, you pick up some dirt. Jim Brown probably put his footprint here. Jim Brown fell here. Jim Brown took his elbow and on a guy's helmet and shoved it in the ground here. So I enjoyed going back and playing with Cleveland. And when I was growing up as a kid, Cleveland was my favorite team because of Jim Brown.
Yeah, that's good.
Syracuse guy. Gotta like the Syracuse love for Jim Brown.
Oh yeah. Love the guy. Lacrosse guy too, man. He was a phenomenal athlete. So.
Yeah.
Well, Louis, we really appreciate it, man. And there's one Bengal OG that I need your help at some point. When you talk to Ike, let him know we're after him because we've had everybody but Ike on. I know he doesn't like doing these things, but somehow we're going to make him comfortable with it.
Did you offer him any vodka or anything like that?
Well, what kind of vodka does he like? Because I can get him whatever he wants.
With Isaac, vodka is vodka.
Oh, let me FaceTime live him right now.
You can entice him. You can buy a $2.95 bottle of vodka. He'll show up.
Hey. So I just text the word vodka to him. That's all I did. So I'm gonna let it go.
I think his favorite is Grey Goose, Joe.
Yeah.
yeah.
See, now you think you got to spend a little bit more money. Now you don't want to do it.
We'll do a GoFundMe for that to get him on here. We'll buy him a case of Grey Goose. Hey, Louis, look, man, it's important, man, and there's hundreds of people watching, viewing all across our different media, social media platforms. And believe it or not, Louis, there's a lot of folks out here who really don't know who Louis Breeden was, and tonight they got to hear from you, a Bengal legend. We appreciate you being on here, man, and sharing these stories and talking some football with us, Big Dog. We thank you. We appreciate you, man.
You guys do a good job, phenomenal job. Appreciate it. I'm glad I got to have a chance to come on.
Yes, sir. Thank you, buddy.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. We'll see you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
He's good, man. He's great to talk to.
He's got the voice, eh? I could listen to him talk.
He might have started singing there. He had the voice when I don't know what he was doing, but I was like, man, he's got the voice for join a band. That was impressive.
Well, hey, we're right at 9 o'clock, and I know we got a hard stop at like 9:10, 9:15, but we're going to do a couple more quick things here, guys. We're going to skip the question of the week. We're going to go right to some Bengals History 101. We're going to take a couple minutes on this, and let's bring in. Is Tom in the room? Hey, Tom, how you doing, buddy?
Happy New Year, guys.
What's going on, man? Hey, so Tom, we're going to talk about a New Year's Eve game, the 1988 game against the Seattle Seahawks, and we've got a little bit of a clip here, and then we're going to start talking about it, Tom. And Jamie, if you could play that History 101 clip from the Seattle game, New Year's Eve, 1988.
Bengals, 7 days here with Team and we got them all.
Let's go, Bengals! To the Super Bowl! Let's go, Bengals!
In the opening round of the playoffs, the Bengals ran the ball almost at will on the Seattle Seahawks. 72 yards for James Brooks, 126 yards for Ickey Woods.
Get it out of something.
The Seattle Seahawks managed just 18 yards rushing.
Bring back to throw. Going upfield. It is tipped away and intercepted by Wilcox. Wilcox running. He gave the ball to Fulcher. And Fulcher is running and he gets out of the 43, but the ruling the ball was dead. In the
So Tom, man, I just tear up, man. Goosebumps everywhere watching that highlight video. Was that the first and last time we played on New Year's Eve?
It's the only time I remember playing on.
Yeah.
It's the only time I can recall it. But it was a great New Year's Eve.
So let's talk about that game, man. It was an awesome day.
It was a little bit different for that 1988 team in that game. Inside the locker room, they knew. Nobody else did. The NFL MVP Boomer was having arm problems. And by that time, Ickey Woods had kind of become the focal point of the Bengal offense. And like you saw there, first half especially, the Bengals just chewed up the Seahawks. Jimmy Brooks had some big runs. Ickey had some big runs and a touchdown. But really the star, and unfortunately it was really his last game to star, was Stanley Wilson. He had two tough runs for touchdowns. Stanley Wilson was one of the toughest Bengals ever to put the pads on. He had two touchdowns with his signature scissor spike, and the Bengals were rolling up 21-0. Defense played a very good game, a very tough game, and just absolutely kept at him. the Seahawks really, they did get 2 touchdowns in the second half. They never had a chance. The asterisk to that game was the Bengals had run the no huddle to perfection, really developed it for the whole league. And the only defense the Seahawks had against it, they couldn't compete, was it. Chuck Knox came up that his defensive tackle, his no guard, Joe Nash, every time the Bengals came to the line and the Seahawks weren't ready, was to fake an ankle injury. Just the guy, it was pathetic. He would just collapse. The worst acting job ever. Even the refs knew it, but by rule, they couldn't do anything about it. And he did that the whole game. The Seahawks really made idiots of themselves. But they never really got their footing in that game. The Bengals' ground game controlled the clock and controlled the game, and in the second half, controlled field position. Defense played tremendous.
Yeah, and what's crazy, I remember that game, but there's another piece of this for the Seahawks that I think I remember correctly. And Tom, correct me if I'm wrong. Was that Steve Largent's last game as a Seattle Seahawk?
I don't remember if it was his last game. I don't think so.
It was one of his. I know he got hurt. He was hurt that game. He played, but he kind of played through it.
Yes, it might have been either an 89 or 90 at Riverfront Stadium. I don't know if it was his 100th career touchdown reception, but I remember he beat Mitchell Price for it. I don't think that was his last game.
Okay, I knew he played in that game, but I couldn't remember. I knew he got hurt in that game as well. He played through an injury in that playoff game that year. So, man, we talked about this. I mean, just actually today about this game. I don't recall the Bengals playing on New Year's Eve. This might be the only game. Now I'd have to go back and look, but I mean, we wanted to hit on that very important New Year's Eve game in the playoffs against the Seahawks.
It's the only one I can ever remember. They may have played New Year's Eve or close to it, right around. They played a playoff game against the Raiders in '75. I don't think it was on New Year's Eve, but it might have been like December 30th because Paul Brown retired just a day or two after that game.
Yeah, crazy. Well, Tom, man, we appreciate it, man. I think there's a lot of people watching right now that had no idea the Bengals actually played on New Year's Eve one day. It was a playoff game. It was a great day in Cincinnati.
On the way to the Super Bowl, it was that was bigger than midnight.
Yep. Well, let's go ahead and Tom, go ahead and stay on here with us, man. Let's go ahead and close this out, and let's go ahead and start with you, Tom, kind of closing out the show this evening. Put you on the spot, man.
You broke up a little bit, Jimmy.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and close out the show, man. So, Tom, give us your closing statements, man, of this past week or what you're looking forward to this week.
Don't worry about the tank. It's only December. We don't know who we're going to take. Even Penny Sewell has a few warts on him. I do think he's going to be one heck of a player, but we know how to draft. We showed that last year because we picked a quarterback for the generation, Joe Burrow. So we'll get other guys to help him this year. I just really hope, like we did a few years back, we can ruin the Ratbirds off season and knock them out of the playoffs Sunday.
Jamie?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I want to see a win on Sunday. I want to see them knock out the Ravens. And like I said on the top of the show, and Louis touched on this as well, I think you want to build that winning culture. Players want to win. They get paid to win. And I'm hoping for a victory on Sunday.
James?
I'm going to stay away from Sunday and winning and all that, but I'm going to talk about the show and how it's evolved and how cool it's been. Just, Louis was another great guest, like many of the 30-plus guests that we've had, whether it's been an ex-player, a current player, a media member, the History 101 segments with Tom and Bengal Jim, and it's been a bright light in what's been a somber or difficult 2020 for a lot of people. It's great to end of the year, over $10,000 for charity. I'm going to say 15,000 next year. We're going to set some goals for that, but just want to thank all the fans. Without them, enjoying this, watching this, interacting with this, we wouldn't be doing this. So it's been, like I said, a bright spot of 2020, and look forward to continuing it on for next year. And hopefully the left column, which is the win column, will be double digits in 2021.
Yep.
Jimmy.
Good stuff, brother. So one thing we failed to mention at the beginning of the show, guys, is we appreciate, I know Jennifer there from Hoot Nation. We appreciate our partnership with Hoot Nation. A bunch of great folks over there, guys. So thanks for joining us. Make sure you guys follow the Hoot Nation Facebook page. A lot of diehard Bengal fans there. You would love it if you're not following it. Make sure you get in there. Just make sure you follow these guys. Again, like James kind of hit it. I mean, look, man, there's nobody here watching or even on the screen that's any different than anybody else. We're doing this is by the fans for the fans. And Tom, remember that was our motto with the fan club back in the late 90s and early 2000s. It was by the fans for the fans. That's exactly what we're going to continue to do here. Thank you so much for viewing, everybody. Thanks for being part of this. This is very special for me. I love doing this. This is fun. We're no way, shape, or form perfecting what we're doing. We're just having fun with it as a bunch of fans. And next week, Ken Riley II coming on. I'm pretty excited about this, man. He's going to have stories that I don't think anybody's ever heard before. He was sharing some of those stories with me, about Dad. And so we're going to have Ken Riley II, Ken Riley's son, come on with us. And if you remember the old video clips that we post, Ken Riley's retirement that he announced, and at a halftime, they did a little special for him down at Riverfront Stadium. Ken Riley's family was there. His son, Ken Riley II, the little kid, he was 8 or 9 years old at the time, standing there with that long jacket on in the cold. We'll post a picture of that here, and we'll get him. We'll talk about that next week. But again, we appreciate it. And I just I posted something. I was down to the game with a lot of our viewers, a lot of other Bengal fans, James and his family, and it was kind of a quick weekend down there Saturday, back Sunday night. And I get to the airport Sunday night and, I felt good, man. We got a W, man. It just felt good. And I get a call from my cousin. My uncle passed away. His name is Jim Steely. I only seen him a few times a year. But remember growing up, this guy is the original Bengal Jim. And I know my cousins are watching. And when I say we love you, Jim, and we miss you, and we know you're looking down on us right now. You're probably watching the show up there, big dog. We love you, buddy, and we appreciate everybody watching. And we'll see everybody next Tuesday. Hoo day.